This is the Cafe Racer Podcast, episode 95 for July 31st, 2016. I'm Steven.
I'm Crash.
I'm Jess.
So we're all here.
That was absolutely flawless.
That was like the best intro we've ever had, and we're all here. There's like the most chances of messing it up somehow.
Right. Well, how you guys been? I haven't seen you in a long time.
Good, yeah. You've been on a trip, huh?
Yeah. I'll tell you about it later.
Us too. Except yours is probably more fun and involved more hospital visits.
I didn't want to come back from mine, but
Yeah, we went from home to new home.
Oh yeah, that's a trip.
Yeah.
We made many trips then.
Yes.
yeah. So I also hear that somebody may have a new motorcycle.
Somebody does have a motorcycle.
That's me. I have a new motorcycle. It's a GS 500 Suzuki. Yay! It doesn't run.
Nope.
It's still a motorcycle. Are you excited? I'm sure it will be running, right?
It will be running. That is the plan. It's not just to look at.
Yeah, because this is nothing we're gonna like tie behind Crash's bike and tow you behind it, right?
That would be a good idea.
Or make like a sidecar out of it. We'll just hook it to the side and you just act like you're riding and wave at people and everything. And you could actually do like
That would be
stunts. You could
hilarious.
stand on the seat and stuff and
Yeah.
be like, wow, check out
like
that
hook-
chick.
Like, have the front end just a little bit too high so the front wheel never touches the ground, so I can still steer however I want.
Awesome. Stunt woman.
Yeah, upcoming project of getting it to run.
Yeah, I made a list the other day of everything I knew that it needed, and first and foremost is a method for fuel to make it from the tank to the carburetors, and then and carburetors because they're still at the previous owner's storage unit.
That's a guarantee though, right? You're getting the carbs.
Yeah, he has them. He just didn't have them. He didn't get the box out of storage when he got the bike out of storage, and so I just have to get them from him.
How'd the tank look? So I know we were kind of talking about the inside of the tank.
Yeah, it looks, from what little I could see, it looks fine. Still gonna be careful and put like fuel filters on the lines just to make sure that no random crap comes out of it. But
Right. Well, that's cool. I'm really happy for you, Jess. I can't wait to see you start riding it. That'd be neat. That's a great bike too.
Yeah, it's a 2001. I don't even know how many miles are on it.
We don't care.
I don't care, really.
Honestly, this is what, in my opinion, most people should do for their first motorcycle. This is really truly a starter bike, and even if you found it at a place where it was in running condition and you paid, let's say you paid $1,000 more than what you paid.
Yeah.
You still would have got a good deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, we just to be clear, this is the one that we talked about a few episodes ago. Dave from Cerberus Motorcycles had it in a storage unit. And so yeah, we had kind of forgotten about, like not really forgotten about, but kind of just we're like, okay, whatever, I had talked to Dave some about it, but then the conversation just kind of died out, and we were looking at other places, at other motorcycles, and he randomly messaged me on Facebook, was like, hey, I'm getting that bike out of storage today. Do you want to come look at it this week? And it happened to be on a day that I was off really early. So I went over there, looked at it, decided that, in my opinion, it was something that would have been a good idea. And then took Jess over to look at it 2 days ago.
2 days ago, I looked at it and sat on it, and then we put it in the back of the truck.
Yep.
Just that first initial impression of sitting on it, Jess, so you find it comfortable?
Very comfortable, and both of my toes can touch the ground completely, and it's light.
Yeah, that's kind of important for a new rider too, that sense of security when you come to a stop, that you got your feet planted. I mean, it's not a necessity, but later on you'll find that, you won't worry about that as much.
Yeah.
What about the reach to the handlebars? Are you comfortable in that area, or are you finding yourself? Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a far reach. I wasn't that forward, actually.
That's
yeah,
great.
because for everybody that's listening, this is the the standard version, the naked one. So it's got wide regular handlebars, not like the clip-ons or anything. So
And what's nice about that the GS 500 is it's a bike that even after a year of riding it and you decide you want to upgrade, you can sell it and get your money out of it. It's
Yeah,
somebody else will benefit by you getting it running and you know.
as long as they like pink and sparkles and.
Oh no, no, no. Just, just
we
please, just leave it alone. Is the rattle can gonna come out with the sparkles? Please.
we talked a little bit about painting it.
We did.
Like maybe the same color as our motorcycle helmets, that like flat army green color.
Yeah, it would look
Right.
really cool like that. But for right now, we're just
I'm
going
just
to
gonna
leave the
leave it.
paint alone and focus on getting it running and
Yeah.
get my license and everything. But maybe if I fall deeply in love with it, might have to paint it.
You never know. This might be a bike that you really kind of bond with and find,
Yeah.
because of the comfort and everything, you may just be like, no, I want to keep it, which happens with a lot of people on their first motorcycle, especially when that ergonomically is correct for you and it fits you well. Well, I'm really happy. That's cool. Maybe
Yeah,
next
I
time
was
I
really
come out to
surprised.
San Diego, you guys will
What's
be
that?
riding. I said maybe the next time I'm out in San Diego, you guys will be riding. I'll rent a bike and we'll go for a ride.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Um, I was I've read all the stats on it. Like looked at the seat height, advertised seat height and everything, and kind of expected it to feel sort of like the Bonneville when I was pushing it around, like around the shop and then putting it in the back of the truck and then putting it in the garage. It feels like it weighs nothing. It compared to the Bonneville. I mean, the Bonneville feels heavy. It's like 500 pounds, but it feels heavy. Like you really feel the weight. This thing feels like it weighs nothing at all. I think it's 100 pounds lighter than the Bonneville.
That's it, because it feels so much heavier.
I
But when I
know.
sat on your Bonneville and tried to, get both feet on the ground and my tippy toes were the only things touching, and it
Yeah.
was heavy. It was a struggle to keep it up. Right.
Yeah. I think a lot of that's leverage too. Like with my handlebars on the Bonneville, they're so much narrower and lower.
It's
Mm-hmm.
also, just a function of the width of the bike as well as the height. So the Bonneville is decidedly a wider motorcycle than this bike. So the wider
Yeah.
you
Oh, is
yeah,
it?
the
Oh,
wider
it's
you're
narrow
sitting on a
too.
bike, the less legroom you've got then to get your feet down. You
Mm-hmm.
especially find that when you have a custom seat done. For instance, like the one had a V-Strom and the Stelvia, when they had custom seats done, they have like a kind of a wider seat, and you're kind of spread more on the seat. It's harder to get your foot down. Plus, the seat adds a little bit of height too. But typically, the wider a motorcycle is, the easier, the harder it is for you to get both of your feet on the ground.
Yeah. We were actually talking about because the seat needs to be recovered. We were talking about shaving a little bit on the like inner thigh portion of the seat to make it even slightly narrower.
Right. Are you gonna try to do the recovering yourself with like a seat concept kit or something?
Um,
Ooh, they have those? Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was looking online. They've got like Saddlemen and like other companies have covers for the seat. I don't know if I have a stapler that'll handle it, but one of Dave at Cerberus's wife, Jen, does.
Mm.
So
Yeah, for
just a
something like
couple.
that, I definitely would try to do a kit.
Yeah, because like paying for a new seat would be pointless.
No,
Yeah.
it
Yeah, no.
no, you can do that yourself, really. I mean, you could actually get foam if you wanted to build it up, but if you're gonna shave it off, it's just a lot easier, and then just recover it. It's not that hard to do, really.
No,
Well, you happy, Jess? I mean,
I'm really
yeah.
happy.
I
I'm
mean
excited.
most of the work that needs to be done is cosmetic stuff. Like it's stuff
Did
that I want to fix, but it needs a new chain. It might need new sprockets, and the carbs need to be assessed. I was told, the typical like it ran the last time we used it kind of thing, like 6 months ago.
did Dave
Um,
have it running, or the previous owner said that?
Dave said that he had it running, but he said the carbs leaked and he didn't want to like get tear into it at the time. So he's
Right.
like, okay, I got it running. Carbs are leaky. I'll just take the carbs back off and put it in the garage. And then I guess he's robbed parts off of it a few times, it appears, because it's missing like the GS 500 has 2 fuel pet cocks. It has one that's built into the tank, and then the secondary one is the one that actually has the selector valve on it, and both of those are gone.
Hmm.
But he has a couple other Suzuki GS 500 project bikes that he's done, so he probably just robbed him off this thing.
Well, at least it's not hard to find parts for that bike. So
No, that was another big reason why I wanted a bike like this one that parts are still being made. There's not much is going to be on back order, and then there's tons of used stuff.
is Suzuki using that motor in anything else right now or not?
I don't think so. That they don't even make the ferret version anymore. The one that has, I don't think.
Because they made that. Didn't they make a GSF 500 for a while? Or GSF?
Yeah, the 500F has like a sport bike fairing on it, and it's the same exact bike but with a fairing and a different headlight.
Right.
And they made the 500 motor they made from like 89 until I think like 2000 and something. But I don't think they sell it anymore here in the States.
Hmm. Well, this will be great. This will make a cool project bike, and after she's done with it, turn it into a cafe bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do a lot of things with it.
I saw a couple people that made a dual sport kind of deal out of it. Like they put a longer front end and a longer shock in the back.
Well,
and knobbies on it.
Honestly, that's what the Rally Raid kit is for the CB 500X. It's suspend. I mean, it's much more significant than just throwing stuff on there, but you're taking a bike and throwing new suspension on it and a bunch of other choice parts and wheels and turning it into a pretty capable off-road bike, from something that was okay.
They're really nice looking. I was at South Bay Motorsport here in San Diego last week or the week before and saw a CB 500X in person and really liked it. I also saw an Africa Twin in person. And
did you sit on it?
I did.
And
I want to give up
and he fell in love.
Can I just give up a child now and have one?
I'll send the guy over now to pick him up.
I've got an 18-month-old. I don't even know her.
Let's
just
trade her.
trade.
You guys are horrible. You know what? I sat on one in Daytona and it really wasn't my cup of tea.
No?
Nah. And the funny thing is on the trip I rode Spencer's 690.
Yeah.
And was like, oh man, this thing's twitchy. Like, oh god, it's small and light. And where I should have been like really excited about it, but it kind of freaked me out a little bit. And then he rode mine and got off it and goes, wow. Like I thought he was going to say, oh, what a pig. But he goes, I can understand why you like it. It's really planted. Well, of course, as soon as he gets on it, the first thing he does is turn off the traction control, put it in sport mode. He's doing like 90 down a gravel road. Then he gets on pavement and he's wheeling the thing through corners and everything. So, it fully impressed him. He goes, I might have to have a 1290 as well as the 690. The Africa Twin, I'm just waiting. I want to get a test ride on one. I'm hoping that Honda is at AIM. I haven't seen anything yet saying that they are with bikes. That would be really cool.
Were they doing any yeah, they were doing demos last year.
No. No, they weren't there.
Yeah, they were. They didn't have their Africa Twin, but
they have. I don't remember them even being there.
Yeah, because remember James rode the MN04 or whatever with its weird ass like.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right. We were making fun of it, right? With the sandwich luggage, the sandwich.
Yeah, you could fit a sandwich in their saddlebags, and it's this big like futuristic Batmobile bike looking thing, and you pop open this crazy stylized side cover, and it's like.
It's this big. It's this big, Jess, on the inside. You could put one bagged sandwich, like a little baggie, maybe some chips, and you forget the juice box. You're not getting a juice box in there. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But in the front, in the fairing, there's storage in the fairing, which
Is there any storage on my bike?
No.
Nothing.
No.
No little pockets.
Nothing.
No.
There is when you slap a tank bag on there.
Yeah.
We determined one thing. Well, one thing we determined while moving was that I love backpacks.
Oh yes, yes he does.
And then I mentioned a tank bag, and she was like, "What's a tank bag?" And so yesterday when we were unpacking stuff, I pulled mine out. I was like, "This is a tank bag."
Yes, it's a purse on your tank, Jess.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, my
tank purse.
I have a big one that will fit on her tank because it's just a magnetic one, and So there's a decent chance it'll just end up on her bike.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got
Without
I actually have a Marcy magnetic one. If you want, I'll send it to you because my buddy Rob's got it and he's not going to use it. I'll get it back from you, and if you want, I'll send it to you.
Oh, cool.
It's a magnet because I can't use a magnet. It won't fit on my bike anyway. I ended up having to buy another Wolfman, just a smaller than the one that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And but I'll send you the Marcy if you want to use it. It might go better on your bike actually, Crash, because it's a little bit probably
We
bigger.
have so many bags.
Huh?
We have so many bags.
Chris is obsessed with bags. Not just backpacks, not just motorcycle bags.
It's a
I have
I
a lot
think
of
it's a
bags.
military
There
thing,
are
honestly.
lots of
Yeah.
bags.
I mean, if I could like pull the webcam and show you, like that back corner right there is nothing but camera bags, and I've got like 4 Krieger bags back there. Like Burton
I mean,
bag.
I've got like 5 bags that are covered in molly webbing.
Yeah, me too.
Plus like all the other
Yeah,
backpacks and
Camelback, Krieger, Think Tank Photo, Dom Key. I'm just like going over in the back of my head what's back there.
yeah.
Burton.
I saw someone today riding a motorcycle with a Krieger backpack on. I was like, "Oh, that's a nice looking backpack. I should look at those."
Because we totally need more backpacks in
Yeah.
our life.
Well, the Krieger backpack I have is the dry bag one that's got the roll top, and I use that thing in the pouring rain, and it works, man. It works great. They make
And the Krieger bags are designed to hook to each other. Like they're really cool.
yeah. It's like the Moscow Moto stuff too. You can wear some of their bags. They've got backpack straps, like the backcountry duffel, the 30 and 40 liter.
Yeah.
Have backpack straps in them, so you can actually like take them off the bike, throw the backpack straps on, and you're good to go. And they're actually like pre-connected, hidden in a zippered area. You unzip it, snap them on, and you've got a great roll top backpack with molly webbing on it. They're the only people I know that are putting molly webbing on motorcycle luggage right now.
Can you guys tell me what molly webbing is?
Yeah, I see that Marine Corps duffel, that backpack over there. All the little web straps, like little nylon belts that are all over it.
Okay.
That you can attach stuff to, just like my work bag has.
Right.
Yeah, that's molly.
Some people call it ladder webbing. It's real, and I forgot it's MOLLE, and I forget it's something Natick made up. I forgot what it stands for, but
yeah, it's like modular blah blah load something equipment.
Okay.
And there's like 9 million different ways to attach it. Like every company's got their kind of like specialized way of doing it. But I got to tell you that the Moscow sticks actually are one of the best ones I've seen. I'd actually use those if I was still wearing like body armor, and had to put crap on it. I would use those Moscow sticks. They work that well.
Yeah, because like I think Magpul uses a stick kind of thing too.
I actually have a Magpul threader for Molly too. You ever see that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's all the webs. There's like 17,000 rows of it.
Yeah.
And if you have something that covers like 5 rows, there's a thing you just slide up underneath, hook your little strap on, and pull down, and it pulls your strap through all your layers, and then you hook it on the bottom. Like
that's nice.
Yeah. And the Moscow Moto bags that they used on the trip are covered in that stuff, so you can you've got the bags, but then you can attach drink carriers or.
Yeah, I actually had on one of the panniers I had a padded case that held our fuel bottle for the stoves. On the other side, I had a 2-liter dromedary bag in a thing, and then on the top, I had the solar panel mollied onto there.
Oh, nice.
For charging. Yeah, worked out good. It's Molly's like useful because you can configure it with whatever you want, and even if you're not like putting some other Molly device on it, you can snap like carabiners in it or tie off to it. It's a good thing to have. We'll cover your motorcycle in it, Jess.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just like and, kind of like the guys that crash their bike and then cover all the rash in fur.
You know what would be really cool too? I just thought of this. Like Jess's bike is covered in pink Molly, and she could have like these little cool lipstick cases on there that she gets someplace and just like opens it up and whips out her lipstick, throws it on, puts it back in the Molly case.
Oh, that would be cool.
She's digging it. She's pink Molly webbing all over the bike. Nobody would ever have done that. I shouldn't even have said it on the air. We'll edit that.
We could at least do it on the seat.
Like along the underside of the passenger seat, the seats. Like we're You can have all your little
Like
gadgets.
he's looking at you, going,
Oh,
"Please,
that's welcome.
please put Molly webbing on my bike for me." Oh, that's awesome.
I'm sure you could
Anyway,
have somebody custom upholster, you know, all that to a shape that would fit.
hey, so not to change the subject, but I'm gonna. Did you see the news about Scully?
Yeah, how they're shutting down.
Completely out of business. Anybody who had a prepay or done nothing, you're getting nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna be
So
shipped.
to fill you in, Jess, Scully was a company that was making a helmet that had a built-in heads-up display
Uh-huh.
that would tell you like your speed, give you
I
like
know, I read about
turn-by-turn
this.
directions. Okay.
Yeah.
You read about them shutting down
Yes,
then,
I
and how
did.
like they had Kickstarter people and just all kinds
Yeah.
of people that are just
Yeah.
bucks.
Oh, they had an
Then
Indigo
they went
project too, from what I understand.
Yeah.
There was a lot of money. They had another investor group that came in afterwards. Apparently, from the article, they went back to the investors and they're like, "Nope." And they couldn't produce any. I guess they, from the article I read, they shipped like 50 helmets. I don't know if those were pre-production prototypes or something that they handmade, but apparently they couldn't get
Weird.
anything to work. So that was it.
Huh. That's really crazy. I
That's
mean, I saw that news on like Facebook or something, and it was just like
what was the other one that, remember James got in on it?
heads-up display helmet.
Yeah. It was at the AIM Expo a couple years ago. And
Yeah,
then
I'm trying to think of it.
like with the thing with that one was when they just ended everything without any word, but they returned everybody's Kickstarter money. They returned everything,
Oh,
which is really odd. We were kind of speculating that they were sold to another company.
no. It's just weird.
All right. So also today I was going to tell you I saw at the gas station. I'm going to post a picture of it later. That new one of the guys there got that Yamaha XS 900R or XSR
XSR.
900. Have you seen that, Jess?
no.
I'm gonna try to bring a picture of it, show you what it looks like.
Yeah, I'll look up a picture too.
Really cool.
I remember I saw one actually at South Bay. So it turns out apparently that South Bay Motorsport sells every motorcycle ever. I didn't realize, like I knew they sold Triumph and Ducati and BMW and KTM.
Hmm.
Seeing Japanese bikes in there, but I couldn't remember which ones exactly. But apparently they sell all of the Japanese ones too. So it's like the only bikes, there's only a couple manufacturers that aren't represented.
Who is this now?
South Bay Motorsports in Chula Vista, California.
Hmm.
They're just a really big dealer. Um, and yeah, they had an XSR, they had two Africa Twins, they had like they have Ducati Scramblers, they have
Ooh.
all kinds of stuff, just like
Which one did you
everything,
see there?
pretty much. The yellow
Hmm.
one,
Here's the one.
I'm pretty sure.
Here's
Yeah.
the one that you see that. That's the yellow one.
Cool.
That's what
Yeah.
he. That's what he got.
Yeah. So that thing uses the same engine as the FZ09 and the FJ09, the thing that I rode at AIM and
Yeah.
told you how much I loved and wanted to buy and everything. It's the same engine, just in a bike that's more like your Suzuki, like just straight up, kind of not really modern, but not really retro.
Uh-huh.
It's like
Um,
it, the seating position on it is really nice. And from what my friend told me, they've already, there's already people making aftermarket for it. Here's a better picture of it right here. Um, I really like this thing a lot. I mean, I said it when it first came out, and the other issue he said is it's got a ton of electronics. So there's traction control and there's independent ABS on the front and rear wheel.
oh, cool.
Yeah, it's just a bike that I would, it was really comfortable to sit on too. I got to tell you, this is a kind of neat shot right here. I'll show you this one.
Yeah, I didn't sit on the one I saw at South Bay. I should have. when I first saw it in pictures a few times, I wasn't really. I was like, okay, whatever. That's it's not that compelling to me. But um, then I saw it in person and really liked it.
It's a different color. The only thing that's kind of the only feature that's a little strange is you see these box right here. They're on both sides of the motorcycle. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen,
You don't
but
see
I
the
can't see
cursor,
your
like
pointer for
right
some reason.
adjacent to the headlight on the frame by the triple tree. You'll see
Oh,
like a
this.
box mount.
Okay, yeah.
Those are fuse boxes. They're the same. They're symmetrical. There's one on both sides, but it's kind of weird looking. You know, it's not. I don't know. It's something that I would. You can't really get rid of it. You can't really disguise it or hide it. It's kind of there. You know.
So what do you think about it, Jess?
I think it's pretty. Looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think with aftermarket exhaust, because if you look, there's that bulbous exhaust underneath that's all catalytic converter. You know, um, that would have to come off. I would, you know, as short as it is, you could probably get a complete aftermarket header and exhaust can and everything. But it's
Yeah.
How short is it?
I mean, the exhaust is short, not the bike.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
There's not a long run because the pipe is kind of hidden underneath the bike for a low center of gravity. You're not having to deal with the big pipe. And I think what one of my friends told me that they quoted for Yashimura complete exhaust system was like $600, you know. The can costs that much for the
Yeah,
KTM.
that seems really cheap.
Yeah.
It reminds me about exhaust. The headers and everything on Jess's bike now are kind of rusty and
Mm-hmm.
could use a little TLC. But the I didn't know this about the GS 500s. Their exhaust is it's all welded together. The can isn't a separate like removable piece. It's just all one thing. And a lot of people just cut it off and then you can buy an aftermarket one to slip on, or people get an aftermarket header and then slip one on. But I don't
That's
think I've seen
I think
one that's
that's the
one
way it is
piece.
on the Yamaha too. There's no yeah, there's no clamp connection because the can kind of comes out of the catalytic converter and it's all welded. It's one solid thing.
Hmm.
There's another one
Well, I
like
think the
that I
header
saw.
goes down into that as a, and then clamps on.
The Kawasaki H2 is the exact same way. I was looking at one today. There's no if you're going to put an exhaust on it, you got to replace the whole thing from the headers all the way back.
I wonder if they're trying to like discourage that a little bit. Putting an aftermarket market exhaust on it.
Maybe. How do you deal with that in California though? Do you have emissions control testing?
I don't know if you have to smog a motorcycle.
I don't know.
I have
There's so many rules here, probably.
my motorcycle is still registered in Washington, and I'm gonna try to register hers in Washington.
Have to
I don't
deal
know.
with it.
Yeah, that'd be smart. Because I mean, we used to have that in Florida years ago, and they stopped doing it. I can remember waiting in line for hours on end, you know, in this huge line waiting to go through. And then first it was just emission control. Then they did well. Actually, it was the other way around. First it was just safety inspections, like they checked
Right.
everything on your car, and then they went to putting the probe in the tailpipe and all this other crap, looking with a mirror to make sure your catalytic converter was still there.
Hmm. I've done the safety inspection thing, like Virginia did that, on all vehicles. But Washington doesn't do it, and California just does smog.
Yeah, they don't do any of it now down here. I don't think they care. They don't care about the environment in Florida.
Okay, I think I'm gonna sign out. Go
Okay.
back to work.
Well, have fun.
Well, it was really nice having you, Jess. I'm glad to hear about the new motorcycle.
We will keep you guys updated.
Yeah, we'll have to. We'll
Excited.
do
We'll do videos.
and stuff of all the hijinks. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure that because I came up with like $700 or so worth of stuff. I'm sure that number will get bigger as we actually take things off and replace things.
Well, maybe we can find some cool aftermarket stuff that'll personalize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing a search for pink molly webbing right now as we speak.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye bye, Jess.
Bye.
Boy, there's a whole thing of pink molly gear. Wait till you see this. You ready for this one, buddy?
Sure, why not?
There is a complete page of pink molly gear. Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Is that not disgusting? Look at
Good
that.
pink camo.
Yeah. How about that one right there? This girl's in complete pink.
Oh, she is. She's
Yeah.
like body armor, a pink gun.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be Jess in no time at all. So, what else? You want to hear about the trip?
Yeah.
The trip was completely phenomenal. I did not want to come home. We got to
No, I bet.
the end, and Spencer, we looked at each other and said, "Let's go back the other direction." So, a recap,
Have you seen the movie?
huh?
Have you seen the movie Go West?
No.
I think that's the name of the movie. It was or something like that. I'll have to look it up. It was whatever Chris Farley's last movie is.
I don't know what.
It was Chris Farley's last movie before he died.
Hmm. Do not know this.
Um. Anyway, so it's the story of these guys that basically did Lewis and Clark's trip
Mm-hmm.
before, like a little bit before Lewis and Clark, and they're not real people. But it was this fake story of these people doing Lewis and Clark's trip, and it was a comedy. I think like John Cusack is in it. But anyway, they get to the Pacific Ocean, and instead of turning around to go back to like tell everybody there, and be the Lewis and Clark, they're just like, let's just keep going.
And what they do? They kept going.
Yeah. Oh, Almost Heroes. That's the name of it.
Oh, Almost Heroes. Yeah, I do remember the name of that, but I don't remember the movie.
Yeah, it's Matthew Perry and Chris Farley. Um, it's really funny, and but yeah, they get to the Pacific Ocean and they're like, screw it, let's just keep going instead of like going back and becoming the like famous people that made it all the way to the Pacific.
Well, so just a recap, because you won't. This is not the end you're going to hear of this project, because there's a movie coming out, hopefully soon. Um, I got involved with Spencer Hill from the Gear Dude on the first Ride Up the Divide project, which was a harebrained scheme by him to take two brand new riders that have never ridden motorcycles before up the Continental Divide from the New Mexico border to the Canadian US border, mostly off road on the Great Continental Divide Trail. And the
Yeah,
idea,
everybody I've told about this while you were gone thought it was like the coolest idea ever.
it's funny because when we mentioned to people, they're looking at us like, you must be stupid, like, or let me know how that's going to work out for you. Honest to God, I got some looks from people like, you really are dumb. But we made it. The trip was phenomenal. We did end up having a couple ER visits that I'm not going to really talk about right now, but nobody died. Chuck came out to see us. Have you heard about what happened?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So the Wheel Nerds. I don't know if you've listened to their
Yeah.
latest episode, but the Wheel Nerds have talked at length about Chuck's misadventure. I was texting Spencer earlier today, and I was like, dude, how many times did you tell Chuck to put metal in it?
The funny thing is like when I listened to that Wheel Nerds episode this week, I heard some stuff I didn't know about prior to him showing up, you know, like with the tires. Like
Yeah.
I kind of, anyway, the thing was Chuck made us at Steamboat Lake. We're really excited to have him with us. We were thinking we were going to have a lot of fun. It was a great dynamic. He was going to record a roundtable episode. And he'd made mention about having to change a tire, and I think he had the old tire on the bike. I'm like, yeah, that thing was pretty worn out. But he he takes off with us the next day, and we're cruising along, and all of a sudden the side case falls off the side of the bike. He's got this
Yeah.
big outboard mounted side case opposite of the car, and it falls off. And so
So
we're
like left
strapping,
side
yeah, we're
just
strapping
started
that thing
swinging
back
around.
on. Long story short, he blew the final drive on the Ural and never made it. Had to have the bike towed to Fort Collins, and it was kind of funny. You got to listen to the episode of Wheel Nerds that's out right now. I think it's episode 186, and Chuckle, he does a really great job of explaining the whole thing better than I can do. But I mean, I really felt bad for him. Like I was texting him, like, "Are you okay? I feel bad about leaving you alone." He's like, "Nah, don't worry about it. It's not the first time I've been left on the side of the road." But yeah, he ended up. It took him a few days to get the bike sorted out, and then he drove it home. But I was kind of bummed that we didn't get to spend more time with him. That was like his vacation, and he,
Yeah.
yeah, we were gonna record a roundtable episode. He had all his camping gear. We were gonna be camping that night, and it
Yeah, it would have been really cool.
yeah.
It turned out to be, a pretty crazy story anyway. But
Oh yeah, it's not. I'm like downplaying it completely. You got to hear it from him, and we've got enough footage of it that'll be in the film. We shot a ton of footage, but I'm still hoping, even with everything we shot, we have enough to put together an hour. There's going to be a Kickstarter campaign coming out. As soon as it does, I'll share all the links. But we would definitely like people to donate whatever small amount they can, because we've got to raise the money to take it to the production company and have the movie made. But it was cool. You'll find out about the guys that went. There was definitely some interesting personalities on the trip, and honestly, I could, but I would have loved it if you would have been there, because I know you and I get along, and Spencer, but I
yeah,
couldn't have asked for a better group of guys to go with than these 4 other guys. Like, the
yeah,
dynamic was great. Yeah, there was nothing, not a single problem interpersonal the whole trip. It was really, really fun.
nice
And
low drama from a
no, no,
interpersonal relationship standpoint.
nothing like that. It was just a really good time. I mean, even when we were like at our worst, exhausted. I mean, there was one night in New Mexico I can remember where I don't think many of the people were talking to Spencer that night, because he kept saying just a few more miles and we're going to be there. And at 8:30 at night, they come rolling in. That was like the first few days of the trip after some injuries. I was taking one of the guys on some really cool Butler G1 roads instead of off-road, because one of the guys got hurt enough where he had to rehab for a couple days before getting back on dirt. So me and him, like, kind of skirted around the off-road track on some incredible Butler G1 roads.
Oh,
When I
cool.
say, yeah, just to explain what that is, Butler Maps produces a set of maps for a lot of the states out west that are, the roads are rated, and the G1 road is the best road for motorcycle riding. And man, when I tell you these roads were incredible, they were absolutely incredible. So we got a
I've been
good
to
taste.
roads that they rate that same level, and then I can concur that if they put, like, if they say it's that good, it's that good.
Yeah, yeah. There's no doubt about it. They're even some of their secondary G2 roads were phenomenal. Especially for somebody who doesn't live in that kind of area. For me, everything is new.
Right.
You know, Th- Crash. There were places where I stopped the bike and was like, and I'm not joking, I was in awe, like looking at the Grand Tetons or places in Glacier National Park where one of the guys, Josh, we were talking in the comms, and he's like, everywhere you look, it's like an Ansel Adams photograph. And that was the
Yeah.
truth. It was absolutely incredible.
I remember the same things. Like, I've ridden, when I didn't realize you guys were going to go by Steamboat, when Chuck was talking about going there, like, I've ridden to Steamboat Springs and then ridden out of Steamboat Springs into Wyoming, probably along a really similar route. I did dirt the whole way from Steamboat Springs to, like, into Wyoming. So I might have been on the same road you guys were on.
It probably was.
Um, was it like a graded dirt road, like, for that little
Wow.
section?
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we may have been on some of the same roads. Anyway, I remember that, like, that part of the country, just every time you stopped for anything, if you looked around, or if, it was just like mind-blowingly beautiful. And if you looked around while you were riding, you had to stop because you would just go off the road because you get distracted.
Yeah, there were places that I just wasn't prepared for the, I hate using a cliche, but the natural splendor of it. It was just like, it's and I kept saying, I think if they review the footage of my Prism cam, it's going to be like, this is phenomenal, or this is extraordinary. How beautiful is this? It was everything that came out of my mouth. Again,
Yeah, just
because
from kind of talking about.
yeah, have spent my whole life in Florida. You just don't see this stuff there. It's just not there. Um, it was really one funny story that I can share with you too. That we were in, I want to say either northern New Mexico or probably southern Colorado. I can't 100% remember where we were at. It might have been the second or third day. So no, that we would still been in New Mexico. We're riding on this graded road, and it's through these kind of like hill areas where it's open range. There's cattle everywhere, and we're going at a pretty good clip, probably like 45 or 50, and we're spread out. And I pretty much, unless I was leading a ride, I was pretty much in sweep the whole time in the back. So this guy, I stop. I see all the guys stop, and they're talking to this guy on a KTM 1190, and it turns out this guy recognized Spencer's bike, like was coming the other direction, recognized Spencer's bike, swung it around, like chased him down, got his attention. They started talking, and he's like, "I've been following you guys on Instagram. You know, I recognize the Gear Dude's bike." And this guy's name was
Nice.
Dean Royal, and he was doing the same route as us, but he was doing it from north to south. And
Oh,
it was really cool to sit and talk to him. Now, this guy's an experienced off-road rider. He's from San Francisco, been riding dirt bikes and off-road bikes his whole life. And Spencer was kind of sharing with them how difficult he felt the northern section of New Mexico was. That he had mentioned to me, like there was a part that I missed where I was with one of the guys who was hurt, that he said it was harder than any of the BDRs that he's done in Washington or Oregon. So this guy goes, "Hey man," he goes, "wait till you get to Montana." He's like, "That's the real deal." And he mentioned this one area that he showed us on the map that was a red route, you know, which was on the maps that they provide from GPS, Kevin. The red is supposed to be a little bit more difficult, or single track, or maybe a Jeep track. And he goes, "That's like the Red Bull Romaniacs, that section." He goes, "Don't even go there." He's like, "It's just crazy." He goes, "It's like the Romaniacs. You won't even be able to get up it." So for those of you who don't know what that is, Red Bull does this race in Romania every year called the Romaniacs. It's a 5-day enduro race, and it's probably the toughest enduro race from a difficulty standpoint, not necessarily from the endurance like Dakar, but just from the fact that it is it's really hard to do. Well, the funny thing was I get a text from Dean a few days later, and I guess Linden Poskitt was like 2 days behind us.
yeah. I was seeing his post on Instagram, like looking like he was going through the same place
He
as you
was
guys were. That's
right
all that.
behind us, like 2 days, and he, he's got a YouTube show called Races to Places. You know, Lyndon did Dakar a few years ago, and he's gonna do it again in 2017. Young guy from the UK, builds all his own race bikes. He's super talented, really a great rider. You know, he's a professional off-road racer. Well, I guess when he hit the Montana section, because he made a comment and called it Montaniacs. He had the exact same, you know, feeling as Dean. It I gotta tell you too, there was a section, I'm not gonna like completely tell you what happened, but there was a section we had to go around. It just was not doable with,
Yeah.
especially, well, the new guys never would have made it. I don't think I ever would have made it on the 1290. And you know, if Spencer can't make it on a 690 with his level of riding experience, it's tough.
Yeah.
But
Like Spencer's definitely, spent his fair share of time dirt bike riding and knows what he's doing.
well, the thing is that, you know, because he told me like some of the sections, he goes, "This is like our backyard every day." When we were in Montana, him and Jarrett were like, "Yeah, this is what we ride in the Northwest all the time." So for me, it was, you know, I gotta tell you, I'm not the biggest fan of heights. So there were sections where there was a pretty huge exposure to one side with an off camber road.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, so it's not like you're gonna slide back into the wall of the mountain. You're sliding off the side of the mountain if something were to happen. And
Sure.
I'm probably exaggerating a little bit. It's probably not that bad, but from my perspective, from being somebody who's doesn't really like that, you know, and then I'm riding, standing up, going over rocks, ruts, you know, trying to maintain my line, trying to remember everything in my head that I've learned about riding off road and weighting my feet the right way. It was a little harrowing, you know. It was like, but at the same time, it was that kind of stress that I liked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, this is exciting. I really like doing this. I want to go back and do it again.
I'll be honest with you. A few years ago, when I did that trip, all throughout the Northwest, there were some times when I was on actual paved roads with that same kind of exposure, feeling nervous. Like if I make a mistake, it's a 500-foot drop. I'm dead. That's it. I'm going over the side.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
Monarch Pass in Colorado was like that, and that's a paved road because we were there like at 8:30 at night, you know, trying to find this campground, and there's a tractor trailer like right on my ass the whole
Oh
time.
man.
And it was one of these deals where it's, try to imagine your your entrance to the campground is you're pulling off on the right shoulder of the road, but it's a hard right switchback, then down to get to the campground. So
Mm.
it's not like there's no runoff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I like this guy's like right on my tail end, and I pull over to get into the campground. And I had to like stop. There was nowhere for me to go. I couldn't make that turn fast enough, so I kind of had to like back up a couple times and do like a 10-point turn to get the bike turned around to get it to go down that switchback. And then it's a pretty steep drop down into the campground. But that campground was just it was wild at 11, like almost 12,000 feet. We were camping up there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was cool.
that sounds amazing. I would have loved to have been able to make it.
I think.
Well, while you guys were going, I had 4 kids in the house.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know you had a lot going on with the move and everything. It just this was like the stars coming together to work
yeah.
out well for me to be able to go, you know.
So I remember when we talked, there was sort of this padding for it to take like up to 3 weeks. I know it didn't. How long did it actually take?
Well, we did it in 15 days, but we only rode for 14 days because we had a day scheduled for relaxation. And honestly, that was really ambitious because we packed 19 days of riding into 14 days.
Yeah.
Really, that's what the maps that Kevin does are they're 19 days. And it was a challenge to make that. It really was. We had to really, there was some early mornings. There was a lot of times we didn't get into camp until 8:30 at night. Thank God that the sun hadn't gone down that late, and
Yeah.
then you get there and you're just exhausted. Um, it was fun. It was like there was never a time where I'm like, this is stupid. We shouldn't be doing this. It was just a lot of fun. Like I'm actually, and it was funny because I was talking to Jim Park this morning from MSTA, and him and his wife got back from a 7,000-mile trip, and
Nice.
his wife mentioned something about the fact like I miss the fact of having to get up and pack and get ready to go someplace, and that's kind of how I feel. Like
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. There's like this sort of, you get a routine and you get accustomed to it, and then you get home and it's
right,
gone.
like I was like I actually dreamt about last night. I dreamt about like packing up my sleeping bag and my tent and getting everything because I got into like a groove after the third day of how all my stuff went into the Moscow bags. It was just like okay, and it was quick. We would like set up and break down really, really fast. You know what's funny though? I noticed universally, all 5 of us. What do you think the first thing that came out of our gear bags was?
I'm thinking. Sorry, I know this is crap radio. Me sitting here silently. The first thing to come out of your gear when you pulled into camp at the night,
Yeah.
phone.
No. The
No.
camp chair.
Oh yeah.
Like the first thing, it was like nobody even said anything about it. All of a sudden, you just notice everybody like ripping out their Helinax chair, unzipping it, and everyone like kind of just sat for a minute or two, like either drank. I usually whatever I had left in my bladder in the back of my bag, I would drink that, and just kind of relax and chill. But no one ever said like, all right, we're all gonna pull our chairs out and sit down. It was just like, even if there was a picnic bench there, universally, everyone got out their chair. And
That's funny.
yeah, it was so funny to watch because it just like I noticed this like after day 3, like, there's a pattern forming here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. I want to do it again. We've actually talked about some sort of trip next summer, maybe something you can be involved in up in maybe Seattle, or that area there. I just
That'd be amazing. Depending on what's going on, yeah, I'm with the Navy. Like I could be in Florida for like a year.
I know you told me
Um,
that.
yeah, I don't know. It's gonna all be kind of up in the air for a little bit, but I'd love to do whatever I can. I actually totally out of the blue. Um, Jessica has a coworker, so like 2 of the women that work in her office with her got promoted. So like the manager left, and then the assistant manager became the manager, and then the next person below her became the assistant manager. Um, and Steve, one of the maintenance guys, was like, "Hey, you guys should all come over to my house. We'll make dinner, have kind of like a celebration. Everybody got promoted. Spend some time, have some fun."
Mhm.
And he had told me, um, a few weeks ago or maybe a month ago that his son has like 5 motorcycles in his garage. He's like, yeah, they're all these cafe racers or whatever. And I'm so kind of stigmatized by Craigslist and what people call a cafe racer or what people know or don't know or whatever, that I was just kind of in my mind like, okay, cool, whatever. Like we didn't talk about it much. We talked about all kinds of other stuff. Me and his name's Steve. We talked about other stuff, whatever. And I didn't think anything of it. Well, I get over there and his son was there. Um, and like we went down to the garage and it's like 5 are running CB 500, 2 CB 500s, a CL 350, a 550, and 2 750s, I think. Like, and almost all of them are running, and they all have like clubman bars and rear sets. A couple of them have like aftermarket like bum stop seats. Like they really are a cafe racer
Are these
setup
bikes you built,
motorcycles.
or is he a collector? Or
He's selling them, so he kind of. I actually want. His name's Nick. And after talking to him, it'd be great to have him on the show sometime. We exchanged contact information, stuff like that. But he he works on contract for a tugboat company up in Portland, Oregon, and it's like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
you ask
So he
Spencer if he knows him.
um so he and I spent we talked about Spencer a little bit. Um, Spencer works for the ferries up out of Seattle, and this guy Nick was like, "Oh, does he know this guy Hank?" And then gave me his last name. And so I text. That's how Spencer and I got texting yesterday. Is I was like, "Hey
Right.
man, do you know this person?" And he's like, "I don't know. Am I supposed to?" And I explained. He's like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't think I know that guy." But anyway, so he's like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So he spends 2 weeks up in Portland, and he comes back and he spends 2 weeks down here with his family in San Diego. Um, but he was up in Portland. I don't know how long the bikes have been here, but it's been like a few months at least. He was up in Portland and he had this bike that he wanted to bring down to bring home. And he's like, "Well, I don't want to spend, $1,200 or $1,300 on a U-Haul truck to bring one motorcycle down." So he bought like 5 more and filled the U-Haul truck and brought them down and like got them running and got them in shape. And then was like, "Okay, now I'll try to sell them." Well, it turned out that like peak cafe racer market kind of happened already,
Right.
and he just kind of like crappy timing. Like he brought them down a couple months after he could have gotten $1,000 more for each of them. Um, and he's been trying to sell them on Craigslist, dealing with Craigslist scammers or whatever. Um, maybe not the wisest business decision or whatever, but they're great looking bikes. And it was funny if we hadn't already gotten Jess the GS 500, I probably would have been like, okay, well, when I get the money from selling my house, I'm buying that CB 500. He has this blue and white CB 500 that looks great. I'm sure there's little gremlins with it. It's a 70 something. It's a 1970 something. It's gonna be a little more maintenance intensive, but it runs and drives and it's in better condition in terms of a running driving motorcycle than the one that's in my garage right now. And he's asking like $3,500 for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good deals in that, like you said, the kind of declining popularity of the cafe market. I just got something. It looks like I think Roy Rodriguez is commenting on YouTube. I'm gonna see what he's got here, but there's to find stuff like that. That's kind of cool. That we definitely would like to have him on, and hear what he's gone through to get this stuff and what he did to put it into working order. But yeah, that's kind of neat. So
Yeah, he definitely we had a long conversation. Jess was talking to me later. She's like, it's unusual to find somebody who is talkative. He's like, she was like as talkative as I am, but also like he wasn't just it wasn't a conversation where it was just mindless crap. Like you meet
like ours.
somebody, some random person at like a dinner party, and they want to just kind of like drone on about nothing. There was none of that. It was all like substance stuff, and it was kind of cool. Like nobody was like kind of stepping on each other's toes. He gave me a pair of fuel filters that won't work on his bikes to work on Jess's. A little bigger than like most of the old Hondas. Their fuel lines are super short, and so these fuel filters don't fit unless you add a whole bunch of extra line. And so because of the way the GS has its dual petcock situation, I can throw these two filters, one on each of the lines, and you know I'll have plenty of room. They'll fit. They'll look decent. So that was cool.
Yeah, I definitely make arrangements to have him on. I'd love to talk to him. It's funny because something we were talking about with Dave's place. Roy just sent me something on YouTube about check out the Standard Motorcycle Company in Orlando, and it's a project that I knew that I didn't know what it was called, but I knew that Jason Paul Michaels from Dime City Cycles was
Oh,
working on.
that's Jason's shop?
Yeah, and there's the front
Okay.
page of the website. It's got learn sheet metal fabrication with Marlowe of what rusted jalopy. So
Oh, nice.
he's from down here, so he must have went up there. This is really cool. So this is like the kind of same thing we were talking about. It's a co-op, and they've got bays and stuff, and so now we've got something in Florida. This is really neat.
Yeah. I wonder if Dave, because last time we had Dave on the show, he was talking about that sort of like co-op network they're trying to work
Mhm.
out. I can't remember if he said that he is been in talks with Jason or if he's going to be, but I'm sure he's on their radar.
This looks just exactly like what they were talking about. So, and it's really it's in Orlando, so it's going to serve most of the Central Florida community. I don't think there's much of a reason to join if you lived in Fort Lauderdale, unless you were going to do a project once a month and go up there for the weekend. That might not be bad. They're doing bike
Yeah.
storage too, um, which is really good for people that are tourists that live outside the United States. A lot of tourists come to Orlando, so to have your bike there would be kind of neat.
Yeah.
Project Bike Storage. It's called standardmotorcycleco.com. We'll
Okay.
put some links in the show note, but he's got classes going on and everything. It's pretty neat.
That's cool.
I'm hoping this
Go
spreads, like
ahead.
wow. And his partners are he's got a lot of people partnering with him. You should look at his partner page. It's kind of cool. People you'd
Nice.
expect and some you wouldn't,
One of the things that Dave actually just started doing, he and I were talking about it a little bit. He came across, like kind of the stereotypical like bunch of bikes in a barn haven't been touched in like 30 years kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
He got like I think 6 or 7 bikes that were all just kind of like that situation, like just found in a barn or in a storage unit or whatever. And got them for almost nothing. Like maybe even one of those situations where somebody was like, "Hey man, if you can haul these out, you can have them." And Dave is selling them. So if anybody in San Diego area is interested, he's selling these bikes for like $1,600. But what you get is you get the bike and 6 months of membership at Cerberus Moto. So when you look at the price, it works out for you're paying $200 for the bike, and the rest of the money is going towards that membership. If you want to think about it that way, and
Mhm.
like with all of his tools and all of his stuff, like that would give you like if you're somebody who is like, man, I really want to start a project bike, we'll kind of just getting a crap bike from wherever and going on my own. It's a way to get that and then have that expertise there of a guy who's been building bikes forever to help you kind of figure out what you need, and you've got 6 months to show up pretty much whenever you want and work on it and get it started and maybe even get a good way into it before you kind of take over on your own.
Another good idea. I like that. And then
Yeah.
I think the model that Dave had too for membership, I liked a lot. You check out their site, they do things a little bit differently here. They've actually got like a level where you can just come and hang out and use the Wi-Fi and be a part of the scene. And some of the pictures
Cool.
look pretty cool.
I know that Jason mentioned they have an Airbnb there too.
Yeah, I talked to him and his wife about that when last time I saw him. I might stay there when I go. I'm gonna try to make a trip. I told him I was gonna try to make a trip when we would record from in there, like you did at Dave's place.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna probably do that and stay at the. It looks like Marlowe's got like a space in here because there's a rusted jalopy sign and everything. So
Hmm.
that's kind of neat. They had like a swap meet. Looks like they got a bunch of guys. I'm sure the Cafe Moto guys from Orlando are there and involved. Got
Yeah.
pictures with a food truck out there. It's pretty neat. Now if we could only get
When
the Ace Cafe to open up.
yeah. When I was at Dave's shop last week before like the day that I went to go check out the GS by myself, I was walking around the shop just kind of looking at stuff again and there was a Yamaha XS 650 sitting on Dave's lift. I was like, "Oh, cool, you got an XS 650." We're talking about it real briefly and he's like, "Yeah, that's the WD-40 bike." I was like, "What?" I was like, "What does that mean?" Like in my head I'm like my initial like thought was, "Oh, is this some like kind of WD-40 ad where they want you to use WD-40 in place of like every other chemical you'd use on a motorcycle to show how incredibly versatile WD-40 can be?"
Mm-hmm.
And turns out that's not what they're doing. Um, whether that's a good idea or not is anybody's guess. But what they're doing is WD-40 is releasing a line of motorcycle chemicals like a wash, like a bike wash spray, a degreaser of some kind, and then like some chain lube and stuff like that. Like they're coming out with a whole line later this year. And they have Dave building a bike for them that's going to be shown off at SEMA in November. And that's when they're going to like hard release all their um, all their new products.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's cool. He has them there at the shop. He has like a couple cans of each. Um, I want to see. Maybe we should reach out to WD-40 or something. Like, try to get a can of the chain wax and stuff like that. That way.
Yeah,
I need chain
good idea.
lube.
There's a lot of good products already out there, but WD-40's been in the business for a really long time, and
Yeah, and
well,
I've had a hard time lately. Like, I was using that the DuPont Teflon spray that they had, and then they changed the formula and said don't use this on motorcycle chains anymore. We've got this new product called Chain Saver that's you know the one we want you to use on motorcycles. So I started using that for a while, but it's such a pain to find. I can't just like go to Walmart and get it most of the time because like most of the Walmarts or most of the whatever stores don't carry it. And then the other day I was looking on the Walmart app and it's like, oh, it's at this store, this
mhm.
Walmart just down the street. I went down there and the little sticker said, on the shelf said DuPont Chain Saver 11-ounce can. And there was a whole row of a different DuPont like degreaser or some crap. I'm like, I don't want that. Their inventory wasn't reflected accurately. It was just it's been kind of a pain in the ass, and I don't want to have to order it online because I want chain lube when I want it.
Yeah, that's the same thing with the KTM recommends Motul,
Yeah,
their chain cleaner and chain lube, and it's hard to find. That the local KTM place didn't have it. I think I found it at a BMW dealership like a ways away, but I started using a Scott oiler too, but I still, even though I have the Scott oiler, I'll still completely, obviously maintain and clean the chain. We did that twice on the trip where we stopped and cleaned chains and lived them. And, like WD-40, it's been proven that you can use it on a chain. I know people that used to say you can, it'll dry out O-rings and everything. And I know that some people did some, independent testing and you could, no problem at all. But in a pinch, that's you've at least got something on it, than
yeah,
nothing. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they come up with.
yeah,
We have some cool like Starbright gave us. We still have product. We got to run another contest with that, but we still have a lot of product to give away from Starbright. That's bike cleaners and degreasers and fuel additives from Startron. But as
I
far
don't
as
have
like,
enough of that. I might need some for the GS.
there's a ton. I'll send you some of it. There's a ton.
The thing is dirty.
What's going on with the helmet contest? I know we're
Yeah,
giving
I was
away
just
a
gonna
next
say.
helmet.
Speaking of contests, I figured we'd run this another cycle. So a couple more weeks when we do the next episode, we'll announce a winner. Um, I got the helmet. I didn't let it get packed away in a box where I would never find it again. Um, this is the crap. I got to look it up again.
C
I have it right here.
C10.
It's a Nex helmet.
Yeah,
What's that?
I think it's a C10. I'm trying to remember now the name of it. Or for if you're not watching the show on YouTube, it kind of has that. It's a not a full face helmet. It's an open face, but it has the kind of a slash retro fighter pilot sort of look to it. It's got a leather stripe on it.
Yeah, it's really cool looking, and I feel dumb because I've blanked on the name, but
What it is.
it's a size extra large. And I was talking to Jess. I'm willing to bet that if somebody out there
Extra
buys
large
this
or
thing,
large?
extra large,
Huh.
it's the X60,
Right.
the X60. So, um, I'm willing to bet that if somebody out there wins this thing and they're like, "Man, this is way too big for my head," you could probably get Nex to exchange it for you.
Yeah, I think
Um,
we probably could as long as you keep it new in the box. And I think
yeah.
they're actually SX.60s is what these are, right? Right.
X60S or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. It might be
it's an
SX60.
SX60.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of different ones. This one's in white with the leather trim on it. It's really nice.
Yeah. The photos and video do not do the white justice. Like this is the same white that's on the other one, the XG100 that I've been wearing,
Hmm.
and it's a pearly kind of almost sparkly iridescent white. It looks really good.
So, what are you thinking of the XG100?
I love it. My only complaint is because it has to do with the fact that I'm in the military and I have to go through a gate every day when I wear it. Um, I have to pop the visor off one side and like fiddle with it to get it back on, but that's something I would never have to do normally.
I can tell you the XD1 was trouble free the entire trip. 3,000 miles off road. We all had the Cena Bluetooth units on them. Now they make Nex makes a plug-in Cena module that's made an OEM just for them, but I just put my 20S on there, with a regular
Sure.
clamp, and then had what's really cool about the XD1, and I'm going to do a write up on it with some photos, is that it comes with replaceable side panels that are flat and a top panel for mounting cameras. So I had a
Oh
Cena
yeah, I've
Prism
seen
mounted
that.
on it the whole time. Yeah. And it was one of this mount that Cena makes here that I actually had to peel it off, but they make a mount that is like a swivel that for the Prism camera that's just got double-sided. Let me take this thing off. It's this piece right here, just this little thing that fit like
Yeah.
right on the side of the helmet, perfectly. And
I like those swivel mounts too that you can just, you can tilt and kind of get a little bit of angle so that if your mount isn't in perfect position, you can, get the camera where you want it still.
we were kind of like dreading, I don't know about dreading, but I would say concerned about how we were going to mount the cameras. And we started to talk about, like, one of the guys, Jared, had brought up a good idea. He's like, let's go get a laser pointer and like stick it to the side of the camera and it'll tell you exactly where it's pointing. Well, what we honestly did was, like, if this was the camera mounted on my helmet, I'm kind of holding the thing on the side to where my head is, you would just look at a guy and have him aim the camera lens exactly where your eyes were. And that worked out pretty good. There was just a little
Nice.
tweaking that took place, like making it inboard or outboard,
Yeah.
because the lenses are so wide on those. And you can pick a narrower field of view, but we picked the wide ones where you could swing it a little outboard and not catch all of your helmet.
Yeah.
Uh,
That was a feature of the Contour that I actually really liked. The video quality when I had one wasn't the best, but it had a built-in laser
yeah,
pointer that
I had a
you
contour as well. Yeah.
had that laser level, like that line, so you could
Mhm.
just click it and it would show you a straight line. You could get it tilted right, pointed in just the right direction.
Contour, it was a shame that camera didn't make it more. It was a really decent camera,
It was. I liked the product a lot. The form factor was good. I really don't like GoPro as a helmet cam because the profile of it. It's so wide. It's like a sail.
That's why I like the Prism better, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Prism. There's a replay that's just like a little lipstick camera that I used.
Is that the one from Cena as well?
No, that Cena has that little lipstick one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a company called Replay XD.
They we'll see how, the quality, how everything looked. I mean, it was I reviewed some of the video and it looked phenomenal. The only time any of the video looked bad was when a bug got on the lens, and it's just you don't really know that's happening. There's no way of knowing. I kind of almost wish that there was a way, like GoPro's got the Wi-Fi connection where you can kind of see the screen, but that eats batteries super quick.
Oh yeah.
Um, if there was just a way you could tell that something like that was happening, because there was some really good footage that it's gonna have like a smudge mark in it when you're watching it because of the fact that
Hmm.
there was a giant bug. I posted a picture on Instagram. I'd stopped and looked at the camera lens and went, "Oh, that's gross." One thing that was kind of a trip saver for me, these little things that we had, but we had some, like in the campground in the morning, we had some plexus that we used to clean off the lenses.
Oh yeah, that stuff is great.
Yeah, but it's expensive, and what I did have, and the funny thing was is that Jared had ordered a entire case of the little personal plexus bottles, and they never showed up. They were
Oh
lost.
man.
But what I had bought was at, like, Walmart, they make Bosch& and Lomb has these little tear-off pillow packs with a
Uh-huh.
moistened lens cloth in each one that's, designed for using for eyeglasses, either glass or plastic, so it's safe on any type of optical material, and that's what I would use to clean the lens off the cameras or, like, wipe my goggles off. There was, and we'll get into this later because we're kinda running long on time, but there was so much of my gear that really, really worked well. From riding gear to gear on the bike to camping gear that I really wanna talk about.
I'm really happy about that. Like
Yeah.
I had some kind of like from the camera perspective when I went on a trip, it was like everything failed.
Well, I'll give you one shout out right now for an equipment manufacturer that they didn't give us this product, but they gave me a pro discount on it. It's a company called Voltaic. And you and I both have Goal Zero stuff, which works great, but I needed something a little bit bigger. And I happened to see this company, Voltaic, and I got their 9-watt charging kit,
Hmm.
which was, like I said, kind of like attached to the mollies on the top bag of the Moscow Moto Backcountry 40.
Yeah.
Every night in camp, that battery, which had dual USBs, a 1 and a 2 amp plug on there, charged everything that I had carrying with me, which included my 20S, the Delorme InReach, the Zoom Q8, a charger for my camera batteries, and the Prism battery chargers. Now,
What is the
obviously,
Delorme in
huh?
reach?
The
What's the
Delorme,
Delorme in?
that's the satellite tracker that I was carrying with me.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
It sounded familiar. I just
Yeah, it didn't, well, like the Montana, the Garmin Montana has the option to run AA batteries in it, but I had it on the bike, so it was charging all the time on the bike. So that was never an issue. I never had to worry about that. But the Delorme is a rechargeable battery that is a USB plug, which I didn't think to look and see what that battery was, like if I could bring a spare or put AA's in it. I think you can put AA's in it. But that battery from Voltaic charged everything. Now, obviously, I didn't even think about bringing some sort of a USB splitter. I didn't do that. I would just, as soon as the 20S was charged, I'd unplug it and plug in the next thing. And then
sure.
I would take that battery, which didn't get depleted, by the way, and put it back, you know, hook it back to the solar panel. And by the middle of the next day, it was charged again. Yeah,
Nice.
it really worked well. And it stood up to, a crash, the bike falling over, and a ton of dust and dirt all over it. So shout out to Voltaic for that. It was great. That was their 9-watt kit. I'll do a link also as well for that. Should be writing these down. But anyway, what, you got anything else before we split?
No, I'm gonna go back over to my old house and continue to move. I got pretty much everything here. It's just a matter of like my tools, which I got to sort through and deal with that. But I'm like super excited. I've never had two motorcycles in my garage before. That both belonged to me. So I'm super excited about that. There's like I'm just like I'm so itching to just start ordering parts.
Right.
Like I'm just and I can't yet. I've got to wait for a little bit longer. You guys might get to hear me talk about kind of the adventure of titling a motorcycle, um, because this bike doesn't have any paperwork.
So
um,
how's that going to work?
the title's just missing. Like nobody knows. I don't even honestly. I don't know how Dave ended up with this thing. I to quote Wheel Nerds, it's not stolen.
Hmm.
Uh, but no, it really isn't stolen. It just the paperwork is lost, and so he said that somebody went to the DMV here in California to try to find out how to get all the information for titling it, and California's got this weird thing where they want like all the back fees if the bike was never like not
Of
operational.
course they do.
Filed with them as like being not operational, they want all these back registration fees, and it was going to be like $800 or something. Um, but Dave knows a guy. The guy was like, "Yeah, we could get it all sorted out for like 180 or something." I'm just gonna see what I'm gonna call Washington State tomorrow and try to figure out what I can do up there. And if not, I know there's that company that does the Vermont title thing. Um, so
Right.
I'll figure something out, or I'll just put the plate from the Bonneville on it and ride it anyway.
I got friends that do that down here. They got like 10 bikes and one license plate.
Yeah.
Like you can only ride one bike at a time. So
Right.
yeah.
I mean, I'll need a second license plate eventually, but
Oh boy. All right. So check us out on Instagram. We are running a contest right now for that super cool Next helmet. And we're on all the usual places, Facebook, Twitter, but Instagram right now is where you can get a chance to win that. And after that contest, we're going to run one for some Starbright product as well.
yeah, real quick about the Instagram contest. So, a couple things. Just go to Instagram, Cafe Racer Podcast, find the post, comment on it, and tag somebody. If you comment 5 times and tag 5 different people, I don't care. That's fine. A couple people have already done that. You just what if you want to increase your chances by tagging extra people, I'm fine with that. Whatever. Um, Instagram, I'm sorry that somebody posted a comment on one of the YouTube videos or something. Um, we've done, we do contests all different kind of ways. We've done email picture contests. We've done Facebook stuff. We just decided to do Instagram. So if you want a chance and you don't have an Instagram, go sign up. It's super fast, and then just find somebody to tag and tag them. It's really easy.
I'll tell you what, why don't we do the next contest on Twitter? Okay.
Okay, fine with me.
If they don't have Instagram,
We'll
if
just
you got Twitter, then do that. If not, we'll do, you know what? We'll do one on Facebook too. I got plenty of that product.
yeah, we can just rotate through the different ways
Yeah.
of doing contests. I just wanted to make it clear, like we just decided to pick that medium, and we're gonna stick with it. I don't have any real need to try to like integrate multiple social media networks into one contest.
No, it's pretty hard to do that. We're just going to
We
keep
also
it.
have so many things to give away sometimes, like all that Starbright stuff.
Yeah, one at a time for this. And as we get other things, we'll do another one someplace else. But we're not, this stuff is stuff that's donated by the manufacturers for us to review, and then we're gonna give it away. So you guys can kind of share in the stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. Next week or next, in 2 weeks or whatever, I need to update everybody kind of on the jeans that I got from Revit and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
and you've got all kinds of stuff to talk about.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about. I really want to talk about the XD1 Voyager by Next and how that worked out after real world, really using it. 3,000 miles off road, dust, dirt. And then we'll talk about the integration with the comms and the Prism, the climb gear, Big Agnes's camping gear, Moscow Moto. There's a ton of stuff that I used during this trip that I want to talk about. And we'll save that for the next show.
Great. Get out and ride.
See ya.